All right, homies, we got to get it figured out. We got to get this stuff locked and loaded in place, because today was not the day I expected. Honestly, I've been doing so well recently. You guys know the training has been pretty peaked. It hasn't been the best because I was really fatigued at the end of last week, but the buildup was pretty good. I thought we were in a really good spot to move on to some heavier weight and see what would happen. And today humbled me harder than I've been humbled in a while. It's been a while since I've had so much mental, high energy. I was ready to just lift the moon, and it wasn't there. Not by a long shot, unfortunately. My body just couldn't do it. It's not often that I have such a high mental, but my physical is nowhere close to where it needs to be to match that kind of energy, you know? Again, it felt really great getting into it. All the warm-ups were hitting the way I wanted to. I was very confident and consistent with the technique for the most part. And so I wasn't really worried about it. 245, I got a really deep ass to grass, not on purpose, but the technique was just about flawless for what I'm capable of right now. So I was like, all right, cool. It was heavy, but it's supposed to be. That's a heavy ass weight. So I was just, we got to at least attempt 265, because that's what I earned from last week's training. And I can tell you right now that I didn't really earn it. It's a hard realization, because you can't know whether you've actually earned a weight or not until after you've gone through the efforts of putting your best foot forward, 100% effort, going through the whole part of that program just to be let down by the end of it. And don't get me wrong, it's not I think the biggest takeaway I took from today was more so that, am I disappointed? Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. The disappointment is inevitable sometimes, and I'm not going to lie to you or lie to myself and say that I'm not feeling a way that I'm actually feeling just because it's got some negative connotations behind it. But just because I'm disappointed and I'm not exactly, ecstatic about the effort I put in, does not mean I'm not proud. It doesn't mean that I can't still give myself that credibility and that passion, because I still put in the effort today. Today especially was one of those days where I really needed to push through it. I didn't care if I hit heavy weights after that when I couldn't do the 265 at all. I got close, but my CNS and my main muscle strength were both burned out, and there was just no getting myself in a position where I could confidently catch it at the rate I needed to. I honestly, I wasn't even upset, because I sat there and I instantly knew, because I've got the experience, I've got the knowledge. I know that today isn't a end all just because I didn't hit the weight that I thought I could hit. And I know I'm prepped for it. It's just that I didn't do it efficiently enough to hit it on the day that I planned for. It's really just allowing today to be lesser than what my mental may have wanted it to be, and pushing through and making the most of what I could give it, Because I'm not going to lie to you guys. The passion was not behind those weights like it normally is. I tried my best. Don't get me wrong. The technique was good, and I pushed through pretty hard, but I didn't get anywhere near the level of passion that I want to be my standard, But I say it all the time, you've got to have those really down in the dumps, shitty days that you don't expect to have, and push through those days as best you can in that moment for what you're mentally and physically capable of doing, in order to make progress and find a new standard for your own passions, Because whatever standard I had before that I didn't get close to today's going to be the reason, not meeting that standard is going to be the exact reason why I push through and I find a new higher standard with a different purpose that allows me to grow even further beyond where I'm at right now, Lots to think about. Overall, again, snatch, I've never been more confident in my form. I've never been more confident in my strength. All of the complexes and crazy stuff and going to top heavy singles every single day last week, it wasn't smart. It was me having fun and messing around, which to an extent, it's not like that was a bad thing, Just because the purpose behind it was to mess around and kind of just find out in the moment and just have a little bit of fun and get off the normal training cycle that I'm used to, doesn't mean that inefficient training was a bad thing. You know, every experience that you go through, you've got to be able to look at the positive aftermath that it can become, because there's always a brighter end to it, you know? It's there. I know it's there. There's no doubt in my mind it's there. I've got to reroute what I'm used to knowing and feeling and being confident in, because it's just not there right now. And even if the program felt perfect last week and I felt amazing and I was pushing it as hard as I could, that don't mean it's going to last. Even if it just lasts 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, who knows how long the current program is going to make you grow in a positive way. But at some point, you will hit that wall. And that's where you have to get, that's where you have to get adaptable. You got to be able to adhere to what your body's telling you to change up, because right now, it's not that my lifting's bad. It's not that the technique's bad. I've never been more confident in what I'm doing. I'm just doing too much. I wrote in my phone that the style of training I was trying last week, I wrote it in as simple complexities, because I had the idea of these complexes were way out of the norm, way different, not really consistent in any way, but I wanted to just have the low intelligence mindset, the basic purpose of just trying something new to try something new and have fun with it, with giving it as much effort and passion as I can, even if it doesn't work out. Because even if I'm going to be on a better, efficient program after today, doesn't mean I'm still not going to feel that way. I genuinely am going to push as hard as I can with whatever's fun for me, whatever I can put some heart and soul into. It doesn't matter if I hit the weights or not. It just matters if I actually tried and did what I was supposed to do with the energy that I had, because I'll tell you right now, I wanted to leave so bad today. Not that I thought that I couldn't lift, and not that I thought I didn't have it in me. It's exactly the opposite. It's the fact that I knew I had at least a little something in me that made me know that leaving would just disappoint me. And if I left, I would have to take an extra rest day, come back and do another heavy snatch day, and I'm not ready for this heavy of a day right now based off the training that I've shown off, So I've got to temper myself with that stuff. Overhead squats and snatch pulls honestly didn't even feel that bad. It just, I physically am just exhausted. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was work or that it was some other outside factor. It's just the training is not where I want it to be. And I want to work on it, and I want to experience these days because it shows me what's going to be important in the moment. My priorities are changing all the time when it comes to just trying to accessorize the heavy lifting. But when it comes to the passion of the lifts, that's always going to be the same. That purpose is always going to be derived strictly from my own principles and my experiences that I want to go through in life, and just to live happily. It's not that complex when it comes to the basic want to get in the gym, but when it comes to the weights and how well I lift them, got to get a little bit more specific and change it around a little bit every now and then. Even though it wasn't where I wanted it to be by far, and it was difficult to even do weights that I would typically crush, even on my overhead squat and snatch pull, I wanted to treat today more like a deload, like that kind of energy, even if it wasn't deload weight, because that's what I need to really recover right now, and it's what I need to want more, because right now, more than anything, I want tomorrow to come, because I know I can do better and show myself that I have so much more potential than I put forward today. That's why I just chose to finish the workout, even though I didn't want to. It's not perfect, and it's not what I wanted, but it's what I've got. And if I don't put in the effort now while I've got it, and I've got the time for it and the energy for it, when am I going to do it? You can't just sit around waiting for that opportunity to present itself. You got to chase it, no matter how much you fail. Beyond all of it, physically, I'll give it, physically we can give it a 7.45. Again, it was not anything crazy. I still felt pretty good, and the fact that I still hit 245 as well as I did technique-wise at the very least, I'm proud of that. I'm genuinely excited and hopeful for what I can put forward in the future lifts, you know? But I gotta chill out a little bit. I gotta give it that time to really adapt and get used to what I need to work on now that I've felt out a new kind of body for myself and what I'm able to do. Mentally, I'll still give it a pretty solid, I'll give it a flat 8. It still wasn't a bad day. You have to remind yourself of that. Even if you feel like the workout was bad, or the lifts were bad, or they were disappointing and they weren't where you wanted them to be, does not mean by any metric or by any standard that you can't have a good workout regardless. You know? You got to make that positivity relative to yourself, regardless of what you think you should feel when you miss those lifts. When I miss those lifts, I'm not sitting there telling myself that I'm failing and then I lost a good opportunity to get stronger in that moment. I tell myself that it's the perfect opportunity to bounce back and do better and do more next time, because I've got to have hope and blind faith in that next time, because it's going to come. I just got to keep putting my foot forward and getting in there, you know? Man. I will say I'm very inspired to try something a little old school when it comes to my training. And now, if you've been here for a minute, you'll know what I'm talking about. But what I used to do, where I honestly really saw some pretty incredible progress. I just wasn't training it efficiently back then either. It worked for a very small amount of time because I was just going as heavy as I could every day like I am now. And I want to change that, you know? I want to return to my roots a little bit. And I think I might take away the complexes and accessory type lifting for a little bit. And I'm still going to treat my lighter days as accessories to my heavier days. But I think I'm just going to stick with doing just the strict, typical movements that I'm used to doing. You know, I'm not going to really worry about some wacky pause workout or some slow tempo or whatever, because my technique's there, my core strength is there. I'm honestly more fatigued now because I did all that conditioning, and it's not a bad thing. But for what I'm training for and for what I'm building myself up to do, it's not what I need right now, or it's not what's going to make the passion come out the way I want it to. So I kind of just want to stick with the main lifts for a little bit and feel out what might be enjoyable in the long run, because it's not going to look as impressive, sure, and it's not going to be as funky as I'm used to, but that doesn't mean I can't put just as much passion into other things about those lifts, you know? Like, for example, on a day like tomorrow, it would be heavy back squat paired with power clean and jerk. And honestly, I look back at my accessories and all my complexes and other movements that aren't just the full clean and jerk and the full snatch, and the only reason I really ever do them, and I try doing them every now and then, I switch back and forth, it's just to get inspired again. You know, it's nothing too crazy, and it's not like I feel like I have to do them, because like if you've got the technique and if you've got the fatigue under control and you're not going too heavy every single day and just getting the conditioning down, doing the full lifts every day isn't a bad thing. You know, to get stronger when it just comes to strictly strength, you don't need to do anything more than the main lift itself. It's just managing how much you can do every single time, so that when you have those heavy opportunities, you can actually go to 100%. And so instead of focusing on an accessory movement that just gives me something a little different to attach my brain onto, I want to find a different kind of purpose and a different kind of passion with the full lift itself. You know, because like I'll do my heavy back squats. If I'm not prepped for it, then I'll just chill out and I won't go too hard. I think going lighter today is going to be what makes it to where I can finish out this week strong, which is great. And even if it doesn't, I'll go lighter this week. And then I don't want to just restart the program again like I normally do. I want to make sure I commit to it because I'm still physically there. You know I can get there. So even if I have to take this week to chill out and do not as heavy stuff, I'm still going to give it that same effort so that I can come back and hit the heavy week like I was going to do originally. And then once I restart the cycle, I'll have a way better idea of what I'm actually capable of and what I want to do, you know? For example, I can do the heavy squats tomorrow, and then, like before I do them, because I've been doing my Olympic lifts first, I could do like what I used to do, where on my heavy days, I'll still stick to just doing quick warm-ups, getting to that weight as quick and efficiently as I can. But on the days where I'm trying to focus more on the individual lift and the different parts of it, I'll find my own way to get that different kind of purpose and passion out of it. Like instead of focusing on just the number I'm lifting itself and comparing it to what I'm used to lifting on the heavy days, I can just do full clean and jerks, do doubles every single warm-up set, take smaller jumps in weight so that I do a little bit more volume and more conditioning without going too heavy, so that when I get to a heavy weight, when I get to that last weight, right before I would typically feel like I'm going to have to put in 100% and like yell my guts out to get it up, I'll stop right before that set so that I can put that put my heart into soul kind of set on a lift where I actually have a purpose and plan to go heavy like that. You know, I can't keep doing it every day. That's what's really dragging me down. Allowing myself to go as heavy and as hard intensity-wise, even if I shouldn't and I'm not truly prepped for it. Giving myself these really hard complexes and different kind of lifts was just really an excuse to allow myself to do that same PR intensity without doing PR weight. And it's still the same intensity, and that'll still take my body down regardless of what I think. So I gotta force myself to take it light sometimes, you know? And so I'm gonna find different parts of the lift to attach to on that kind of day, you know? Instead of worrying about the weight so much, I want, like, my cleans normally, it takes me a lot of time to get my core quick under the bar, you know, when I flip under the clean, and making sure I have a really consistent split jerk with my core staying like really upright and like up and down without swaying forward or backward with my hips, that kind of stuff, you know, really attaching my mindset to the technique without forcing a super hard complex onto myself that I'm not used to. You know, I'll just do the same lift, but with a different intent, you know? It's not gonna be about the heavy weight, it's gonna be about the conditioning and the form and the technique so that I can kill it when I get to that actual heavy day that I really care about and plan for, you know? I gotta stop myself. I got a lot to talk about with this programming stuff. I'm very excited, and I gotta take some time to think about how I wanna do it. Because right now, I do really like the idea I have where I know for a fact I can do 245 for triple and snatch, for example. I was prepped for that, and I just went too hard around the days after that. It fatigued me to the point where I couldn't lift heavy anymore in the following week. So I'm going to continue moving in the idea of, like, if I go from a triple to a double, I'll go from 245 to 255 if I fail it and it's close. If I make it, then again, the attempt at 265 is still valid, and then if I make 265, the attempt at 285 would still be valid. And if I miss 265 like today, next week I'll still go to 275 for that attempt. But when it comes to the accessorized days, where the weights are a little bit more light, a little bit chill, and have a different intent behind them, I'm going to do it in a little similar way where I'm not so much worried about the percentages, because I don't like working with percentages as much because it makes me feel a little bit constricted in what exactly I should be feeling with certain weight groups. I think I'm just going to do it in a similar way where I just decrease the weight by a certain amount, like I'm doing the 10 to 20 pound jumps, and do a 10 to 20 pound, if not more, decrease while doing that same volume, but doing the doubles every single set rather than just at that top weight. You know, something like that. I don't know, but I really want to go back to my roots a little bit, have a little bit more fun, and just not worry about going crazy hard on some new stuff I've never tried in my life before, because it's really taxing on your body, even if you're not going that heavy, to do a technique and a lift you've never done before. Because a slow tempo, all the way up, all the way down, flip under as hard as I can, snatch, is not the same as a normal snatch. It's not the same lift, even if it accessorizes my snatch. It's just as hard, if not harder. And when I give it that PR intensity, that's what drags down the lifts that I really care about. So we're going to build off that and get there. Sorry for going off so hard about it. I have a lot in my head, and I want to really think hard about it before I jump back in there and do something that I really feel is worth my time, you know, that'll really prep me in the best way possible. But other than that, I appreciate y'all listening. I know it's been a longer video, but I got to get it out. I got to get it out in some way, and just, it gets me inspired, and it gets me a better perspective of what I can look into when I start rewriting the program a little bit. So you'll see. I'll be back in tomorrow. I still feel great. I'm still going to try my best, and if we got to take it lighter this week, we'll take it lighter. I'm not worried about that. I just want to do good and try my best, you know? Because trying my best does not mean I have to give it that PR intensity. So I'll be back tomorrow with the squats and the clean and jerks, and I appreciate y'all hanging out. Seriously, the sport means a lot, as always, and it's always cool to shoot the shit with you guys. I love you. See you tomorrow. Bye.